The movement that my father was one of the leaders of, the modern civil rights movement. They were able to organize movements and create a strategic plan to help get a Civil Rights Act, to help get a Voting Rights Act, to help get fair housing legislation.
Until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are affected, things will never change. For the first time, we have large numbers of white people and people from all walks of life saying, whoa, this is wrong.
Opened my notebook up to the first page, and on it was a noose, like a little hangman noose, with me hanging from it. We'll kill you. And
this is in the 90s.
This is the 90s. In 1995, the KKK marched in the 4th of July parade in Brazil, Indiana.
You have to build allies, both in your communities and in these intersectionalities that we have, right? I mean, we're talking gender, we're talking ethnic background, we could be talking sexuality, we could be talking socioeconomic level, right? But wherever that is, so build those allies there so you have a safe space.
Life is too short to let anything control you or let anything stop you from living the life you want to live. Aware? Absolutely. Notice that it's here, absolutely. Be real about what's ahead of me, absolutely. But that it stop me, absolutely not.
What can I do if I'm a person listening to this or watching this and you say, hey, I'd like to make a difference in poverty. I'd like to make a difference in racial and social issues. What advice would you just give? I think people think I can't do anything. I'm just sitting here at my apartment or my house and, just getting by in my life. What difference could I possibly make? What would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would say is that today, if you think about, the movement that my father was one of the leaders of, the modern civil rights movement. I mean, we have every tool at our disposal today to be able to accomplish almost any objective because of the internet. They didn't have anything but mimeograph machines.
Yeah.
And they were able to organize, movements and create a strategic plan to help get a Civil Rights Act, to help get a Voting Rights Act, to help get fair housing legislation. So today we have the ability to connect with any and everyone because of technology. The first thing I think someone has to do is to find out what is your passion, because we're only going to really have time to work on the issues that are very important to us. None of us can do everything, but every one of us can do a little bit. One of the things I learned was as a kid, I went to my mom's undergraduate institution called Antioch College. And on that college was a statue of the educator Horace Mann. And under that statue was an inscription that made a profound impact on my life. And it said, "Be ashamed to die until you've won a victory for humanity." And I was probably 13, 14 the first time I saw that. But I came back subsequently many times. And I kept thinking about that and how profound it is. Be ashamed to die until you've won a victory for humanity. And I said, how do you do that? And I had to break it down. I said, we can win a victory in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Some of us may win victories in our schools. Some may win victories in our places of worship. Some may win victories in our city, some in our state, some in our nation, and some in our world. All those words basically mean are be ashamed to die until you've done a little something to make the world in which we all must live a little better than it was when you arrived.
I want to just say something to you, and I know it doesn't need to be said, but I'm so sure your mother and father are so proud of you. And it's one of the real honors of my lifetime today to get to talk with you. I just want you to know that. And it's a sincere honor to get a chance to speak with you. And I know they're proud of you, but I'm just listening to you and watching you and just thinking, my gosh, she's so proud of you. She's so proud of you.
Let me share one thing on that. And thank you so much for those comments, because there were very few things that would bring tears to my eyes. But my mom, at a certain point when I got to be over 18 or maybe even 25 or 30, and she would say that, she said, your father would be so proud of you. And that was one of the few things where I would almost shed tears, because you often wonder. I mean, again, 10-year-old Martin never having a chance to have an adult conversation with dad. And we all want, most of us want to make our parents proud. And so for her to say that just meant, I mean, I may have been old at 35 or something, made me feel really good. I remember when I was running for public office, I ran for county commissioner here in Atlanta, which is comparable to supervisor out in California. Yeah. And my mom really didn't want me to run. So I had to demonstrate to her that this is what I wanted to do. And once I did that, she was 1,000% behind it. Yeah. Why would you want to do that? You're going to be ostracized. You're going to be criticized. I mean, it's a thankless job. Somebody's got to do it, but you don't have to. Protect me, So when I convinced her, she was my biggest cheerleader. And that was always the case. I think, with my siblings as well. So, I am so grateful. I really do believe that to him or her that much is given, of him or her is much required. And we try to provide examples for our daughter, my wife and I, because they are, as you having children, anyone who has children know how impressionable they are. And they are sponges. And so I've noticed her, I mean, she does things sometimes that are amazing, because if I'm saying something that is wrong, he will correct me. I'm saying, wait a minute, you just got here yesterday. How you going to correct me?
My friend,
what she said, I know is correct.
Believe me, I relate to that one. And it sounds like, boy, do I relate to that one. That happened today, just so you know, about 3 hours before this. She was listening to another call I'm on, rolling her eyes. Dad, that's not right. It just happened. But it sounds like with your daughter, the legacy is going to continue. So last question. Listen, we've talked about sort of baseline in the world. One thing that I pride myself on is getting people to dream, though, in their life. And obviously, probably the most famous talk your dad's ever given is I Have a Dream. And I would be messing up if I didn't ask you this question at least. There's millions of people that are listening to this, and hopefully several 100,000 to millions that watch it too. They're sitting there thinking, I want to make a difference in the world, but also I want to make my dreams happen. And you have been up close and personal, both during his life and then post, to a man whose dream is still evolving every single day. But he had one of the biggest, boldest dreams of all time, was your father's. And you've carried that. You said that you don't focus on the burden of it, but I watch your face when I ask you the question. There's certainly a burden that comes with making a dream come true. Would you give any advice to people about having a dream, pursuing it? Anyone listening to this right now, especially during COVID, it's so easy to just go, I just want to survive. I just want to get back to, but you know what? You weren't born to just get by. You were born to do something great with your life in big ways and small ways. And I don't want anybody listening to this to forget that. And I just thought maybe you would make a comment on that at the end about anybody with a dream. What would your counsel be to them?
So I would always say that, we have to somehow, as a human species, have some resilience, because it's very easy to get distracted. And it really is, life is challenging today, but out of every challenge, there are also great opportunities. Do you know how many times I say to people that Henry Ford may have failed? It may have been 1,000 times. Doesn't take but one. One success. That's all you need. And all of a sudden doors open up. So you can never, if you really have a dream, you should never give up on it. You continue to work, even if you're an older person. If you have a dream, it can be accomplished. We see it happening probably every day. We may not know about it, but every day someone is fulfilling dreams. And when I think about what our ancestors had to overcome, I mean, people could have their hands cut off for reading, Black people, that is, because it was illegal for Black folks to read. Somehow people have overcome, and no matter who you are, everybody, there are people who've overcome things that it's hard to understand, but we are strong and resilient, and we will overcome this too.
It's like an honor for me, everybody, to introduce this man to you, because today's going to be an absolute treasure with the great Les Brown. So Les, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and you're very modest. I'm looking at the greatest speaker on the planet. So I don't think you can sneak up on me.
First, what do you think as you're seeing what's playing out on television right now, the conversation that's happening in the world today? Just what are your thoughts when you see them?
I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating. Here I am, 75. I was 5 years old downtown in Miami with my mother. It was very hot, and it's around 90 degrees. And I saw these kids playing, these white kids, and one drinking from a water fountain. I let my mother's hand go, and I ran to the water fountain, and I started drinking from it. And my mother grabbed me by the neck, and she threw me down on the ground, and she started punching me with her fist. She had never done that before. And my face and my head, and I was screaming. She had a crazy look in her eyes. I said, "Mama, it's me, Mama, it's me." And then all of a sudden, a white cop came over, and he had a nightstick, and he kept on hitting it in his hand. He said, "Okay, that's enough. You beat that little nigger boy enough. Now he's learned his lesson. He won't do that again." And he walked away, and he just started laughing as he looked at me. My nose was busted, and my eyes were swollen. And she said as he walked away, "Leslie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, son." I said, "Mama, why did you beat me like that?" She said, "You can't drink from that water fountain." I said, "Those white kids, they were there. Leslie, listen, you can't drink from that water fountain. It's for whites only." And when I saw that white policeman coming over towards you with his nightstick, had he hit you with that nightstick, he would have had to kill me. And I would have left you and your brothers and sisters to fend for yourself. I'm so sorry, son. I'm so sorry. I said, "Mama, it didn't hurt that bad." She said, "I know, I never wanted to hit any of my children like that, but I had to do something to distract him." And that was the birth of hunger in me, because on that day, I realized something that Martin Seligman said in the book called Learn to Optimism. He said between the ages of 0 and 5, that we learn what's available to us and what's not available to us. And there are places that I couldn't go. I used to see signs on Miami Beach that said Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed. I remember being on the bus and seats were available front, and we would be packed in the back. And I remember stopping, said, "Mama, there's seats up here. Leslie, keep moving. Mama, there's seats here. There are empty seats here. Did you hear me? Keep moving, boy, past that yellow line." And so when I look at now, here's the positive stuff. Benjamin Franklin said that until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are affected, things will never change. For the first time, we have large numbers of white people and people from all walks of life saying, "Whoa, this is wrong. This is wrong. Evil prevails when good men and women do nothing, and good men and women from all walks of life have gotten involved. This is a reckoning." And it's first of all, it's sad to see, but it's heartwarming that there are people who do care. You care. I always tell speakers, I train speakers at this point, who you are behind the words are far more important than the words that you speak. When I train speakers, I first work with the messenger and then the message. And so that evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. There are a lot of good men and women who've put themselves in harm's way, who've said, these are human beings and their lives matter. And it's one thing if we had a protest saying Black lives are better. We're not saying that. We're saying Black lives matter. I mean, when cops, they know they have absolute power. They're judge, jury, and executioner. Over 95% never go to court. And those who go, they are called innocent. The prosecuting attorney's on their side, the judge, the jury, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But I do believe in our lifetime, at some point in time, that we are going to garner the courage and the persistence and the commitment to eradicate what we're dealing with, because cultures of terrorism, people who are supposed to provide and protect, who are killing and terrorizing, these cultures are created by people and they can be changed by people. And the secret is for us to maintain commitment through all the frustrations, through all the disappointments, through all the things and people who infiltrate the movement and create distractions to try and discourage us and sabotage it. I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world. And when I wake up in the morning, man, I say all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And I do believe that justice will prevail.
This lady is the president and chief operating officer of the WNBA's LA Sparks.
Yes.
And her name is Christine Simmons. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
How do you have a balance between, sort of in the back of your mind, it's probably not some strategy they have, let's catch her doing something. No. It's a bias or a lack of understanding or an unconscious thing that people have. I want you to talk to people that are in the minority community here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how you navigate the balance, and this is something no one ever asks people, knowing that that's probably a truth that you're going to deal with. Yeah, this is a hard question, but yet not being so obsessed or focused on it that perhaps you begin to create some potential scenarios that may not have existed if you weren't in that. That's a really difficult thing, I would imagine.
It is, because I think really what it is bring your best work to the table, right? Bring your A game.
Yeah.
Right? If you're bringing your A game, and then we know as just overachievers that want to max out on everything, then you're going to over prepare.
Yeah.
Regardless of your background, you're going to over prepare. You're going to over research. You're going to. Irvin used to be like, you're prepared. You got it. Like he used to joke about how much, because I always want to. I may not always be the smartest person in the room, but no one's going to outwork me.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm doing that and I'm bringing my best game to the table, then I can just be confident. I know I let it all out on the table, and I can be aware and know that I can't do a half-assed job.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're just aware that you cannot do a half-assed job, you can't coast. But then again, you quickly become the person who doesn't want to anyway.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that just breeds winners regardless.
Really good. That's really, really good, because some of the business people I coach, obviously, are minority business people, and I tell them about those opportunities that come along. I know for sure this, you're going to have fewer.
Yeah.
So you better take advantage of the ones that come your way. Any other dynamics you would say, if you're giving advice to somebody right now who's in the business community, let's just go all the way.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview yesterday with Serena Williams.
Yeah.
And she recently had that issue at the US Open that you saw where she was upset with the official.
Yeah.
I thought the official overreached in how he penalized her. Some people thought that her behavior was totally inappropriate. The first time I heard Serena talk about it, I was interested because she said, I don't get the same leeway, if you will, as a man would being a woman.
Yeah.
That's the first thing she said. She said that several times. The interview I saw yesterday, she took it a step further. And she said, I don't get the same leeway as a woman, and I really don't get the same leeway as an African-American woman in that regard, too.
Yeah.
If you were speaking to the women that are listening to this, that are Asian Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans, whatever it might be, what advice would you give them for navigating that landscape?
I think it's a matter of one, building allies. You have to build allies, both in your communities and in these intersectionalities that we have, right? I mean, we're talking gender, we're talking ethnic background, we could be talking sexuality, we could be talking socioeconomic level, right? But wherever that is, so build those allies there so you have a safe space to help figure out these problems and people that understand them. There's going to be things that we can help navigate, because I've been there, and kind of help you through and translate, right? Because if I'm going to be the only chick in the room of all these dudes, and I'm the one at the cigar club all the time, like I can translate. I'm like, okay, ladies, this is what's happened. This is what they meant. Let me translate. And then they're like, oh, okay, got it. And same thing with the dudes. I'm like, this is what she said, and this is why she said it, and this is because she was feeling this. You know what I mean? So one, build those allies within your community, but within also externally as well, outside of your communities, and also externally from the company too.
Okay.
You want to have just as many allies inside as you do outside.
Great point.
You know, you want to make sure that people outside understand your work. We as women tend not to brag about what we do.
That's true.
We don't.
Yeah.
We're not going to be like, oh, look what I did, look what I did.
It's true.
Right? We expect if I put in the work that you're going to recognize it.
Are you cognizant of being great at relating? I know the different versions of you, but I've already observed you. So you're great at interacting. People that we both know have told me this, and then you're great at interacting with men. You're great at interacting with women. You're good at, so is that something you're very conscious of? Is almost I guess knowing who you're with when you communicate. 'Cause really everything to me is sales. And to some extent, you're selling yourself, you're selling them on taking a particular action, you're selling the franchise.
Yeah.
So are you cognizant of that version, but also just meeting them where they are, I guess is the way I'd say
I
it.
think it's the meeting them where they are. Because it's funny, one of my dear friends and mentors was like, I was telling him I don't like sales. But I've been in business development roles like most of my career, right? But I hate sales. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're selling all the time, to your point. And so when I can be authentic and when I can speak passionately about something, and then meet someone where they are and understand who they are and what their goal is, then I can relate. Then now I got it. Okay, but like if I don't know you, I don't do my research on you, I'm not passionate about what we're talking about, and I don't think it's going to be a win-win for either of us. If I've researched and I'm like, you know what, this isn't even a good deal for you, let's not, then I cannot do that. So yeah, I am, that is one of, uncomfortable, that's one of my strengths.
It is, and you got uncomfortable saying it was one of your strengths. You did it earlier too. The other thing you do is, and I know this isn't a Magic Johnson thing, but you both seem to do it a lot, you smile a lot. No, I'm serious.
How could you not smile? Look at this gorgeous view on a Friday afternoon with great people.
Is that because you're here, or is that something you do a lot? I'm serious. Is that something you do?
I do a lot.
Okay. And I think that may seem like a really small thing.
Yeah.
But for people listening to this, like I have some deficiencies too. They're different than obviously what you would deal with. My deficiencies are, I have a look about me that's really intense. I've got this really deep voice.
Yes.
I would consider myself to be an acquired taste, unless you know me, right? But after a while, you're like, oh, he actually is a decent person. You know?
And your build is so like waif-like, and I mean so meek.
Right.
That's not intimidating at all.
Right. But so one of the things that some of my mentors told me earlier that I forget often. This may seem like a really basic thing, but like, dude, smile.
Yeah.
Like smile. Like tell your face you're excited to be here.
Right.
And that's like a really small thing. That's what right when I met you, I'm like, hi. I'm like, why am I smiling so much? Because she's smiling so much.
It just changes everything.
I'm dead serious.
It does. It's funny. Like there used to be times, and of course, in your boss, when you're with bosses, there's sometimes you don't see eye to eye, and Irvin would have been in a bad mood, and I was like, you know what? And most people, because he can, when we're intense and we're bosses and we have to make big decisions, and you're not happy about it.
Sure.
And a lot of other peers and colleagues would go in and they're like, oh, he's in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Every time I go in, same way. Hey, Erwin. Hey, sir. No, bring it in. Right. Okay, I know. We got to talk about this. Right. And then everybody just like
changes.
Why not?
Yeah. By the way, for the video people, you're all seeing this. Like she lights the room up, and a lot of people call him the toughest man alive. But I'm excited because I get to call him my friend now. I've enjoyed this conversation so much, and I think you guys are going to join the on-camera one. So this is Goggins, everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So one time in my Spanish class, we had all of our notebooks that stayed in the class. Mm-hmm. So, and obviously your name's on it.
Yeah.
You go get your notebook for a class. And I always sat back in the back of every class, man, because I just want to be, just don't look at me, don't call on me.
Yep.
I don't know shit. I opened my notebook up to the first page, and on it was a noose, like a little hangman noose, with me hanging from it with the same thing, nigga, we're gonna kill you. And
This is in the 90s.
this is the 90s. In 1995, the KKK marched in the 4th of July parade in Brazil, Indiana. Now, they weren't allowed to march like actually in the parade. They were allowed to march 100 or 200 feet behind it. My mom didn't know how bad my grades were. She never saw one report card. I hit everything from, and she didn't even ask. She was so bogged down with life. And so I got away with a lot of shit because her mind was occupied. So it made me, honestly, a weaker person. So I scammed life. My mom helped me scam life for a while. But this time I couldn't scam life. I went the second time, took the ASVAB test, failed it again. And a week later, she got a letter in the mail from my high school. And I'm a junior in high school, and the letter says pretty much your son's gonna flunk out. He's missed 25% of school, because she was always gone, so I didn't went to school. He's gonna miss school, and so or he's gonna flunk out. So I was exposed once again. My mom goes, well, she read the letter to me, she put my bed, and her best advice was, guess what? You're gonna flunk out of school. That was it, in the conversation. So this is when I developed my accountability mirror. And
This is awesome.
I look in the mirror, and at this time, I didn't want to be the black kid in school. There's like 5 or 6 of us in school, out of like 1,700 kids, something like that. And I made up a character to kind of like draw attention from color.
Okay.
And so what I did was I started to design haircuts. And one haircut I had was the old man. And I shaved my head up here just like this.
You did this.
I did this.
Okay.
And I would keep the hair on the side like an old man has. And one time I shaved my whole head and had a reverse part. So I had hair up here and they kind of zigzag. So I did things to be this cool, crazy, kind of like creative kid. You know, like Crisscross came out this time, so I had my pants sagging but backwards. So my back pockets are here. I had a toothbrush. I was crazy, man. But I was a crazy cool kid in school. So I look in the fucking mirror, I see this letter, I'm fucked up, and I'm like, you know what, man, no one's coming to help me. I remember back to what my principal said, 'cause I went to the principal when they wrote that shit on my car and in my notebook, and the best advice he can give me, God help his soul, was this: they're ignorant. They spell nigger Niger. God. And so but honestly, I talked to the guy as I wrote my book, and I have nothing wrong with Principal Freeman. I actually interviewed him for the book, and he was happy to interview. He's a good man. What the fuck you could tell some black kid, you're a white guy in white society? We could tell me. You could shut down the fucking school and have a fucking damn. So I started talking to myself this way in this mirror. What the fuck is Principal? Because at that time, like, this is the best you can fucking do, Principal Freeman. That was my mind then. But in this mirror, it wasn't my mom. It wasn't Principal Freeman. It wasn't my dad. It was me. Because when nobody coming back to fucking help David Goggins, that was my mindset now. And so with my non-spelling ass, I started getting these sticky notes and writing, "You're fucked up." And my mom wakes up like, what is wrong with you? I go, man, I have to change because I can't stay here. I can't. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was defeated. I go, look at myself. I'm like, who am I? So I'm defeated in this mirror, and I'm like, okay, I'm changing. I said, Mom, can we please get a tutor? So we can only afford $15 a week for a tutor. So I have 4 hours a month. 4 hours a month. I had a 4th grade reading level, man. 4 hours a month for 6 months. That's all I had. So this tutor did one thing for me, very big. Wish I could remember her damn name. But basically, she saw that I was slow, very slow, and couldn't retain shit. And I think she was joking. She goes, "You're gonna have to write down everything 1,000 times for you remember this." I took it as okay.
Literally.
Roger that.
Okay.
So I literally went to the store and I bought these spiral notebooks. And I started literally writing down, let's say it's a math equation, the same fucking math equation over and over and over and over again. When it came to a paragraph comprehension, I couldn't read the fucking paragraph and then remember it. So we had like, I think 25 or 30 paragraph comprehension things. I had to write down the whole fucking thing, like a whole paragraph, and you don't have much time to take the fucking test. But that's how I learned.
Okay.
So how I learned the Navy dive man, it was like 1,000 pages, Navy dive man. I got it a year in advance.
Oh my gosh.
And wrote the book out probably 14 times. Like the Boyle's Law, Child's Law, Gay-Lussac's Law, Dalton's Law, all these laws, but over and over, the whole manual. So it's not like, so now I've done it so many times, I can go back in my mind and say, okay, page 71 was Boyle's Law. And I can go back in this, and I'm looking at it right now, and I remember writing it down so many times that it takes me to say, okay, I got it. And I can write it down almost verbatim.
Wow.
So that's how I learned even to today. But the work ethic, people think I became this guy from running.
Yeah.
No, I became this guy from fucking studying.
Welcome back to the show, my brother.
What's up, my man?
Here's the real. Someone has done me wrong. Or here's the real. I am a part of a community that doesn't have the exact same opportunities as other people in the country. Whatever it may be. You know exactly where I'm going. You know exactly what I'm asking you. Some of these obstacles people face are real. And I get asked, well, you're more qualified to answer it than I am. So what do you say to somebody who says, hey, look, okay, that sounds good, but I have some real obstacles?
Bro, let me say this to you, bro. And I always believe this, but when my grandma died, I lost two grandmothers. One in March, the other one in April. One was like 90, 91. My other grandma was about to turn 93. Okay. And when I tell you, I have never felt death the way I felt it when my grandmother passed. And my grandmother was like almost 93, and it hit me. 93, I was with her 51 to the 93. I promise it went by quick. I promise it hit me that like, this life is a temporary experience. Like, you don't get 1,000. You feel me? Like, and whatever you get, 90 is quick. I would say to them, life is too short not to live. Y'all better hear what I'm trying to tell you. I'm telling you, I don't care what the obstacle is. Life is too short to let that obstacle rob you of 10 years. Life is too close, too short, that whatever your reason is, it's too short to let that. Now look, I've been in abandoned buildings and I've flown first class. Let me tell you something. You're gonna want to fly first class. Look, I've stayed in the La Quinta Inn, and I've been in the Four Seasons. I've been in the Ritz. You want to do the Ritz and the Four Seasons before you do homeless. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. Life is too short to let anything control you or let anything stop you from living the life you want to live. And I would suggest that I've never watched a football game that I enjoyed. I've never watched a basketball game that I truly enjoyed without defense. I've never watched a football game where Barry Sanders didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have to make moves. Like, you wouldn't enjoy one team being on the field by themselves and it's absolutely no defense. We actually love sports because of competition. We love it because of the obstacles, because I'm a Lion fan. They used to stack up 9 people against Barry Sanders. And what I loved the most was, how you just pick up 50 yards when they legitimately put up 9 players to stop him? How was he still able to get through those guys? So what I'm telling y'all is what an excitement to have to get through homelessness. What an excitement not to be able to read or write and end up with a PhD. What an excitement to not have my dad in my life, but still be able to become the #1. I'm telling y'all, you got to stop looking at obstacles as something that's meant to stop you. And you got to start looking at it like, whoa, this is exciting. This going to be fun. I'm going to get through this. And listen to me. I love Dee Dee too much to let anything stop her from living the life she want to live. I love Jalen too much, Jada too much, to come to my children and say, look, y'all, I wanted to have a good life for y'all. I wanted y'all to be blessed, but there's something in this earth called trials and tribulations and mean people and roadblocks and set. I'm not giving my wife no excuses. I'm not going to even have a conversation with them about what's going on. I'm just going to go handle it and come back to the crib with the blessings. They don't even got to know, Ed, what I'm going through to get them. But I love Dee Dee too much, Jalen too much, Jada too much, my mom, God. I love God too much. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Like, I just believe in God too much to give negative stuff more credit than it deserves. Aware? Absolutely. Notice that it's here, absolutely. Be real about what's ahead of me, absolutely. But that it stop me, absolutely not.